east of Paris. Richard, can you bring us up to date? Recap.
Well, what we're seeing right now is that the cordon has certainly been relaxed here. Traffic is flowing once again in this town, this small town very close to Charles de Gaulle International Airport. And it was here that this raid on the Kouachi brothers took place a short while ago. Local officials tell us that the raid is over, that the Kouachi brothers were killed. French media is reporting that the French commandos who've been watching this industrial building, a warehouse, all day, found the right opportunity when the Kouachi brothers, the hostage takers, were separated from their hostage, from their one hostage, who we are told is now has been freed and is in good health. And that as soon as they were separated, the commandos decided that was the opportunity to act, burst in, and the Kouachi brothers responded by exiting the building, opening fire, and French television is reporting that 3 police officers were wounded. We were here at the time. We heard, and this was taking place just as the school behind me, that building is a school, and there were about 100 students holed up inside, barricading in the cafeteria. As the evacuation was taking place, we heard 2 explosions separated by about 5 minutes and some gunfire in between. And that was the indication for us that the raid was underway.
Richard, how common is it for some of these disaffected Frenchmen to become jihadis and to have been trained in Yemen? Can you give us a little more context of how easily they can move back and forth?
This country, unfortunately, does have a fairly large radical group. There are millions of Muslims and North Africans in France, and clearly we're not talking about a problem of millions, but over 1,000 French nationals or French residents have traveled to Syria to fight with groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and many of them have returned. Hundreds, in fact, have returned, and that is something that is of deep concern to France. Many French are asking why. Some of them believe it is because they have it has become such an open door because of many of the privacy laws here, because there is a large Algerian population here. French are asking themselves the question, why so many in France? But it's not only France. The UK and France are almost neck and neck with the number of radicals who've been traveling back and forth to Syria. Germany, Holland, Denmark are all up there. So it is not just a French problem.
Not just a French problem, and we also know that there was a terror attack in Belgium against a Jewish museum. I mean, there is a growing tension between the Jewish community feeling targeted by the radical Muslim community, and the Muslim community writ large, the larger community, feeling very much under siege from the French majority community.
There was no coincidence that this was an attack on a kosher supermarket. In fact, the 2 brothers, the Kouachi brothers, and we know quite a bit about the Kouachi brothers at this stage. Saeed Kouachi, 34, his younger brother Sharif. Sharif was generally thought to be the ringleader, the more charismatic of the 2, the one who was more often getting into trouble. He served time in French prison. He, in his own testimony, said that his initial intent was to attack Jewish targets in France, but that in 2005 he met a radical cleric, I should say a self-professed cleric. He was a janitor with no real religious training, but he made himself into a cleric, that this individual convinced Sharif that he would be better off not attacking Jewish targets, but traveling to Iraq and attacking U.S. troops there. He never made it to Iraq. He was arrested. He served time in prison. And that, his prison time seems to be a key point in his radicalization. After he got out, Sharif laid low. We didn't hear much about him. He was detained in 2010, but generally he kept a fairly low profile. And more or less dropped off the French authorities' radar. Meanwhile, his brother, Saeed, traveled to Yemen in 2011 and received months of training, according to U.S. officials, from the al-Qaeda branch in Yemen. And now this homegrown cell was mobilized, and it attacked the French satirical magazine. And then, as they were on the run, barricaded themselves up here near the airport and caused a hostage drama.
And as you're speaking, Richard, we're looking at new video we've just got in of the people leaving the supermarket. As you know, there was a hostage drama there. Unconfirmed reports, some media reporting that some of the hostages were also killed. We do not have that independently confirmed. And in fact, the French ambassador had tweeted, the French ambassador to the United States had tweeted that according to his information, the gunman was dead and the hostages were alive. So we don't know what is happening inside that supermarket. As you pointed out, a kosher supermarket right before the Sabbath clearly would be very crowded on what was, when this began, Friday morning in Paris. Richard Engel, the other remaining question is whether there will be more incidents, because as horrific as the original Charlie Hebdo incident was, it was a shock when the policewoman was killed. It was another shock when, during the getaway, they took hostages at the print shop, then the grocery store. And French authorities clearly do not know how many cells there are and how many connections these brothers had.
No, the French authorities initially thought that this would be over quickly. And when the day after the initial attack on the magazine, a policewoman was killed, French authorities claimed that it was not related, that it was a separate incident altogether. Even by the end of yesterday, they were backtracking from that statement, and police are still mobilizing in this area, but I can tell you the situation here is considerably calmer than the one in Paris Chapman Bell was describing a short while ago. But yes, French authorities don't know how widespread this is. They thought it was over at first. Then there was the shooting of the policewoman. Then we've had this multiple hostage taking, one by the airport where I am now, the other in Paris. And don't forget, the French are still looking for a fourth suspect, a woman, the wife of the man who was apparently killed in the supermarket. The French authorities put out a bulletin and a wanted poster for her earlier today. And as far as we know, her whereabouts are still unknown, and she was described earlier as armed and dangerous.
Indeed, Ayat Boumediene, we just had up that wanted poster. Richard Engel, thank you so much for your continued